I've been talking to you at Cannes for many years, but tell me anyway, how long have you been wanting to make movies?
Oh, fuck. Like, as soon as I smelled like the first little baby Snickers bar in my mom's pocket, and she came back from like fucking, you know, the very deep valley, like was like, my mom was a script supervisor, so she like came home with her Diddy bag and like her fucking like Polaroid camera and stopwatch, which is like kind of a dead art now. And I was just like, what are you guys so fucking involved in? You're so obsessed with this shit. You're never here. What the fuck? But it felt like for like a really good reason. And, you know, I mean, I guess I was like lucky enough to be an actor as a really little kid. And so I think as a kid, you don't really realize like what the sort of imposed bullshit kind of like optic hierarchy is. You're just like, oh, we're all together making a movie. And I was like, well, whatever the fuck I can do to be here, I want to be here to do that. And so I guess if the question is like, when do you want it? Forever, like for fucking ever. Since I saw the Santa Claus.
I remember seeing Come Swim, which was a real revelation. That was back in 2017. So this took 8 years to get made. What were the hurdles? What were the impediments to making this film? Movie star that you are, and you know the short was good. What were the issues?
Short was whatever. It was like a very sort of adolescent little scratching at something, but like, yeah, it's such an unbelievable ask, and such an unreal fucking like privilege to find yourself like being upset about not being able to make a movie. Yeah, so like being an actor has absolutely fucking nothing to do with the reason that we got this thing made, because like nobody could have, it was, I mean, I guess like logistically the only reason I was really able to do it is because I had met some people who were like at some point sick of hearing me complain about it and just went like, okay, I'll try and, you know, connect you with the people that can actually realize this, which is purely independently, purely outside of this American entertainment system industry. I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, like, I guess on paper, it's like a movie about stuff that sucks. Like, it's a movie about stuff that really sucks. But it's a fucking thrill ride to watch this person excavate voice in this way. And it's an invitation. And it for me, was always like something that I was like giddy about finding the pictures for. And being able to like put up on its feet. And so it took 8 years because it was like, you know, this movie like has the body of a woman. It has just been like so attacked, and that those words could easily be attacked too, because like, you know, I'm not like playing the victim here, but I am fully playing the fucking victim here, because Jesus Christ, it was like impossible to make this movie for a million reasons. I mean, like it would take a long time and probably like much more context for it to land, to really go into it.
So your hero turned out to be scot-free, right, in terms of some financing, and also the great French producer Charles Gilbert, who was behind Personal Shopper and Claude of Sils Maria and On the Road. He came through for you?
Yeah, so Charles Gilbert couldn't even read the script and was like, what the fuck do you think this is? I don't know, I can't even read it. And then he went, I love you so much and I can't like hear you talk about this anymore. So I'm gonna find you some people in Latvia who will like help you make this movie for absolutely fucking nothing. Even though it spans fucking 4 decades and is like, you know, a pretty ambitious, like scopy movie. And we did it like, you know, with like Ritz crackers and fucking floss. And he, after, like when he first watched the movie, he was like, oh, I am so relieved. I'm like, yes. Because he did take a gamble. It was like not a proven fact before it happened at all.
So you were adapting this extraordinary memoir. What made you respond to this material and make it so urgent, so important? You weren't giving up on this. You were going to get this done.
It should be a movie. It's a movie about like reorganizing details, and it's sort of like an atmospheric approach to something hyper-specific. When you make a movie, you can get something really near to like a dream state, and there's like, something about her writing, as much as it is confessional, personal memoir, which is a particular medium that loves to get shit on. You know, like women start talking about themselves and it becomes very unserious. But what she did with the shape of her telling, like with the potency of redesigning narrative, like, and sort of then allowing you to vicariously understand that you can also kind of design your reality because it is so malleable. It's like, you know, a movie that is super faithful to the book, not because it's obsessed with the details, but because it's obsessed with the form and how it breaks and then reforms itself. So I was like, I've loved a lot of books in my life, but this felt like it should be a movie because it could really have its own body and have its own memory in life. And like, it's a memoir, it's a biopic, I suppose, because the woman existed, but the woman like allows a lot of us to exist. She's like such an activating voice in literature. I just thought like more so than a lot of books that have gotten under my skin, this one was like, I should be a movie because I talk about why movies save lives just as much as literature does. And yeah, if it only worked in the book, it just, if it didn't have this particular structure, it would just be less exciting to make a film.
So Thora, what did you think of this screenplay when it first came your way?
Well, I did make it through the whole script, so that helped. To be quite frank, I sort of understood it right off the bat as more of sort of a poem, a kind of a punk rock art house poem that is emblematic, more emblematic of the female experience than I think a lot of people would like to admit, or maybe necessarily ready to talk about. So I think that, all of that sort of hit a fundamental truth, I think, for a lot of us. But it was presented in this place that was so personal. And I'll not lie, at first I was a little sort of confused maybe as to how to approach the character. But then just once I realized that I'm just existing in the form of someone's memories, it was a little bit more freeing. There was a lot going on, a personal reaction to the material, the source material, but then also just really even not having a firm grasp on what would be the ultimate result. There was a sort of a blind faith in that Kristen was the right person to tackle this material specifically. So, I was just really sort of like jazzed to see how her voice would bring its own life into this person's story, which was so visceral.
How much did you rely on the memoir to help you build your character, and how much did you stick to the script and to what Kristen's vision was?
So I don't know if I would say I was lazy, but I was maybe scared of relying on the book itself as the way to approach. I did build a relationship with the script itself and then put that down and tried the book and then just tried some of the audio of the book. And then as I got more and more into that, I was like, no, this is, my instincts were right. Just like, let it all go and just realize that you're just here to be, Lidia's memory and to set up a fundamental portion of her internal world. So, just working as a pure function and not even as its own standalone character, again, kind of like, was a soothing element and freeing, but then also, even more, there was a sense of self-containment that had to be applied that was maybe more than I would have normally used, I tend to like the overdramatic.
So you're playing sisters, you and Imogen Poots. Was there rehearsal? Was there a lot of freedom on set? Talk about. I know that you like to see things evolve as they come to life on film. Go for that.
Oh, I was preparing for the role for like 7 years apparently, and didn't realize it. No, I just think
When you were talking about comfort, right. I was like, yes, because you are a comfort, and that's why you're here. It's like there's like a historical relationship that I've had with her work for my whole fucking life, and I was like, can you just like come hang out with us?
which I was more than pleased to oblige. Yeah, no, I think, every day was a new experience. There was a little bit of a sense of a freewheeling kind of thing, but I knew that Kristen had been with this material for so long. And so it wasn't even more, it wasn't, and also coming from a sort of similar trajectory with her in our own careers. I think we have a shorthand as people who started acting very young and transitioned into more adult roles. And so there wasn't a lot that had to be gone over. It was just more, nailing the specifics, the mark, and here's the frame. And we have 15 seconds to get the shot, so let's go.
This drifter right here. I'm like, right here? She's like over there, because she's like so fucking free. Literally, it's like wrangling a kitty cat.
So what were you doing with the cameras, Kristen? What were you using? You used a 16, you were 16 or 35 millimeter? You used real film.
16.
Yeah. Why was that?
There's a sort of, first of all, the movie should feel out of time, and I always kind of wanted the thing to feel like somebody found it in their attic or something, and it wasn't something that was designed for you. That it was something that was found, like it was scraping the bottom of a barrel or something. And also there's this there's an elliptical experience that happens when if you roll out, the scene's over, and then it just sort of forces you to think of a different moment in which the color was the same as that moment. You know what I mean? It's the film encouraged us to cut when we wouldn't have thought to cut. Because sometimes that's what happens when your neurons don't fucking fire. You go, what? Did I say that? I'm not sure if well, we're done. I guess we're gonna move on. And you're like, well, that's often what it feels like to try and grab at the dregs of memory.
So there's a lot of imagery around blood. There's no, talk about your use of blood in this movie, why it was important to show as much of it and the kinds of blood that you show.
There's different types of that shit. I guess if we're talking about sense memory and emotional connectivity, there's a lot of easy, understandable symbolism in kind of letting or not being able to not let something go that defines the female experience. And, it's not always your choice, but it is something that you have to hold in your fucking hands. And the viscosity of that speaks so much to where it comes from, what it means in given moments, and there's more than one color for that bodily fluid, you know what I mean? It's just there's that's the reason the book was also inviting, was because it wasn't just about, the things that happen to this person. It's about the things that come out of us, all of us. And there are certain shots in the movie that I think could just sort of step out and stand alone outside of Lydia's story, and step into all of ours just by going, do you know this texture? Do you know this color? I do. It's obvious.
So you've taken control of your choices over your career, and you've been an independent. You've often taken that route. And in this case, you've gone, it's not like you're one of those first-time directors who decided to take an easy, straightforward, conventional route. You went all for it. You went brazen with this. And you had the confidence.
I would have been way more terrified about making something boring.
Conventional.
And oh my God, are you kidding me? Jesus Christ, what the fuck would I be like? I'd be in so much trouble. People would be like, you're fucking fired.
Well, thank God you did. That was the right thing. So talk about Jim Belushi. Where did he get into this, and what a role he played, and the kind of love of words that he represented?
We all have a bit of daddy issues. He's such a nice guy. Fuck. He represents one person that steps into her life for a moment and gives her a nice solid pat on the back. And sometimes it's hard to contextualize that when you are somebody who has, not always decided how to be touched. And it's really hard to cast a part like that. You have somebody step into a role like that, unless they're coming from a pure place, it's like, oh, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, he did a lot of improv in the movie that's so cool. Like, it's unexciting to see somebody step in and just like thrill themselves with coming up with like quippy, funny moments. And a lot of actors are good at doing that. And it's easy to get caught up in that. As an actor, as a director, you're like, oh, wow, they're so in the moment. They can sort of just say whatever. But his additive like stuff that's in the movie was so unbelievably researched and so astute and like soulful and stunning. Like he came up with this, he like brought a rock to set and gave it to her in that final scene that they share. And he speaks to metaphor in a way that really encapsulates like the whole mission statement of the movie, and then kind of throws it away in a way that only a sort of paternal figure, like somebody who's had it easier than you, could do for you in a way that doesn't feel unpalatable. Like he goes like, fuck a metaphor. It's just a rock that fell. And you're like, no, it isn't. Everything is very symbolic for me. But then he's like, but I didn't fucking write that. That guy came to set and said that. And I was like, like he's an unfucking believable, incredible, generous, amazing, like I love that guy so much. I love that guy.
So let's talk about Imogen Poots. I'm sorry she couldn't be here today. She's amazing in this movie. She's physical, she's mental, she's able to take this trauma and turn it into art, which is what this movie's all about. I was rather impressed. So what did you need her to be able to do, Imogen Poots, when you cast her? And how did the two of you work together effectively? Threw three things at you at once. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just realized that I just talked for like way too long, and like I was like, ugh. I was like, you go.
Yeah, she carries the film basically in a close-up, and that's incredibly difficult to do. And so, my experience working with her was like, wanted to be there and present and for her, but also give her a little space, which, sometimes it seems like maybe she appreciated it, and then other times she was just like, everything's fine. I mean, she has like a very professional, almost stoic approach. And I know like one time.
She's really British.
One day, yeah, she's our blonde bombshell from across the pond, and like one day there was some eye drops that gave her a really bad reaction. She couldn't work for like an hour. And, like normally you would see a visible reaction from any actor, actress, whatever. And she was like, no, everything's fine. And then, comes out an hour later, everything's fine. And Kristen goes up to her, she's like, are you okay? You didn't react at all. And she goes, I did once I closed my trailer door. It's like, but she's just like, and she's like, she also has so much of the personality that is the film, which is she can be intense and emotional, but also she's just fun. And she's fun to work with and be around. And the film itself, yeah, we cover a lot of weird ground, but it's a fun ride too. That was
Thank God for fucking Imogen Poots. Because,
thank God for her. Like she really,
unless you could like jump on her like a barnacle, you'd be like, I'm off the ship. Like I will plank walk now. Like she's like some of my favorite movies ever are when you just cannot get with the decisions that the woman makes. And it's just her fucking face. And it's like how present in this moment she was right now. Like there was like a mutual rupture that was like ready to go. And she's been working for a long time. I mean, she's just been like a woman for a long time. And it's like, ugh. That's what the fuck I needed her to
She's
do.
got that grit. Yeah.
She's amazing. Like, I wish she was here. She
And
would
she
just
makes
explain it herself.
dedication looks effortless too.
And she's
'cause
fucking
you don't
funny as
see
shit.
The work that she puts in, and she is funny and charming and all. She's very annoying, honestly.
Yeah.
So when you put this rather audacious structure together, it had nothing to do with a conventional 3-act structure, and it had nothing to do with the conventional editing at all. So is it true that you used the female orgasm as your structure?
Oh my God, thank you so much for asking me that direct question. Well, I have like noticed, or at least like sort of like in trying to get financing for the film, and then in like editing it and hearing a little baby bit of feedback, by the way, I had like, the voices were minuscule in the room. I was able to make this movie in pure isolation, which is such a gift. I was like so outside the system. But there's a frustrating and ultimately incredibly satisfying long experience that you have with Imi and with Lidia, traversing this life. And I guess if I were to be kind of basic about it, you know, the kind of like rise and like kind of quick fall into a climax and then being done with not much to think about after is what we're used to. And I knew that it was going to be difficult to get people to pay for, and then subsequently like not be afraid of like the fact that the movie undulates and that like, you know, a lot of her false victories feel really good, but actually don't finish us off. And you're like, that's right, we're gonna do it 5 more times before we're fucking finished. So yeah, it is about that.
Well, all right. So have the offers been pouring in for you to direct your next
No,
picture?
we have to do it again ourselves with our bare fucking hands.
So you're going to claw your way back, but you're going to do it, right? All right. On that note, let's end it.
Dude, thank you so
Applause.
much, Anne. I
Yeah,
fucking
thanks for
love
coming
you.
out,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you.